Welcome to Soul Conversations with Z, Healing in the Raw, where we keep it raw, real, and unfiltered. I'm Zachyra Rodriguez, a trauma specialist and marriage psychotherapist, and this is a space where we dive deep into the messy, yet beautiful and often difficult parts of life. Here we challenge ourselves to face our fears and dig deeper into self-discovery. I'm no newbie. I've navigated many rocky roads and consider myself a recovered traumaholic. Life hasn't been easy, but I truly believe that everything happens for a cause greater than ourselves. Whether you're navigating with grief or grappling with trauma, healing from attachment injuries, or working on your marriage, we're here to unpack it all. No sugarcoating, just honest conversations about the struggles we face and the growth that comes from them. You matter, you are loved, even before your existence, and you're created to do great things. So grab a seat, my friend, take a long, deep breath, and let's get real together. So let's begin.
All right. Well, welcome again to Soul Conversations with Z, Healing in the Raw. My name is Zachyra Rodriguez. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I am just so excited to be here today. I have a very, very special guest, another special guest, and we are actually with Jo Torres, and we're going to be hearing a lot of great stuff. So why don't we start out first, Jo, because we all call you Jo, so we'll go with that. Is that okay with you?
Sure, absolutely.
All righty. So tell us just a little bit about yourself. Who are you? And so like that, the audience can kind of get to know who you are.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be
Absolutely.
here,
Yep.
so I'm excited about that.
Yes.
Like Sachi said, my name is Jo Torres. A lot of people call me Jo. But I am a housewife.
Mm-hmm.
I am also an office manager for a private dental office. I've been married to my husband, Anthony Torres, for 20 years. We have 3 children together, and we do a lot of special things, my husband and I, aside from our secular jobs. We also do a lot of ministry work at our church. So we've been given the privilege to direct the marriage counseling at our church as well. So we do a lot of premarital, marital counseling as
Nice.
well. And I'm also part of the worship team as well. So I get to lead worship, which is a
Yes, we'll
blessing.
be hearing her throw down some tunes.
Yes, praise the Lord for that. And yeah, that's, a little bit of me in a nutshell.
Yeah. So I actually met Jo also at church, and it's definitely been a blessing. And it's just so much fun when we do our, the life group and
Yes.
all that. So I decided to invite you here, and it was like, you know what? I think it would be just so cool to have this podcast and kind of just continue to just have fun and just to really dig in, right? So today's podcast, which I'm so excited, is called Real Talk, Marriage, Faith, and the Things No One Tells Us. Right? Because I know that when I got married, nobody sat down, had a little conversation with me and said, this is what marriage life is going to look like. I think I was lied to, because we see all the other marriages around us, and that's pretty much like what we mimic, right? And that's what we think,
Right.
is good. So I kind of want us to tell a little bit about, ourselves and our stories, and pretty much how did you meet, Anthony, and you guys call him Tony.
Yeah. Or aunt.
Yes. Or
Yeah.
aunt.
Yes.
Right. So, and my husband's name is Antonio, and we call him also Tony, and some people call him Anthony. So, yeah. So tell us a little bit about, how was that, that love story?
So interesting enough, my husband and I met at our church. Actually, it was my church first. And he came to visit one time with a friend of his. And we, at the time, were nothing at all. We would hang out with the same friend group. And it was a point in time, at that point, he actually was married previously to that. And he had his relationship. I had my relationship at the time.
Okay.
And we never had anything at that point.
Okay.
One time he actually hadn't come to church for quite a long time. And a mutual friend of ours, who was actually was the best man at our wedding,
Okay.
ended up telling some of the youth and saying, hey, listen, let's go visit Anthony. He's going through a hard time. And some of us, we all said, you know what, let's go. And now I hadn't seen Anthony for a long time since he hasn't been in church. And I was doing my thing. He's doing his own thing. So here we were. We went to his house and...
Now, is this in Jersey and
This
New
is
York?
in the Bronx
Okay,
at
in
the
the Bronx.
time.
That's
So
right.
in the Bronx.
So we got Joe from the Bronx.
We got Joe from the Bronx. Oh, gosh.
We forgot to say that.
Yeah, we Joe from the Bronx. I'm originally from Bronx, New York. Yes.
Yes.
And so we went to the house and we just started talking like with the youth and everything else. And he said, you know what, let me go get pizza. Can anybody come with me? Nobody wanted to go. So I said, you know what, I'll go with you. We just started talking and we started realizing that we had a lot more in common.
Wow.
He went through, at that time, he was already divorced. I had went through a bad relationship as well. And we connected in a lot of ways. Wow. And before, I actually did not like my husband. At that point, I thought he was a very cocky guy. You know, I was
my
like,
God, you're preaching to the choir, girl.
Yes, I was like, he's too cocky. He thinks he's all that.
Oh my goodness.
It wasn't really like, oh my God, I would love to be with this guy. That was never my first reaction.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, no. Until I saw him
gosh.
sort of let his guard down when we were talking. And I'm like, oh, this is the real him.
Wow.
And then it started conversating for hours and hours. And then one thing led to another. We end up falling in love at that point. Yes.
That's so funny that you say that, right? So with Tony and I, so we've been married for 33 years. And actually in February, it's going to be 34. No, I'm sorry. We've been married for 32. We've known each other for 34.
Yeah.
Almost my whole life.
Yes.
And it's just so interesting because when I met him, I was just visiting from Florida. Here we are. And I came to New York, you know, because my siblings were living here. I was living in Florida at the time. And it was just so funny because when I met him, I thought he was the most cockiest guy. I couldn't stand him. He had all these girls.
Him
and
too.
He was a papi chulo.
Yes, that's how my husband was.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
Yes.
Yes. So this is like Tony from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So girl, he had all these little mamacitas and I could not stand him. And I remember he was we were getting ready for this party that my cousin was having because we met through mutual friends because we were not serving God at that time. And I see him and he's just like his outfits and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So then afterwards, it was so funny because it looks like a few days before, my cousin was like, oh, there's this guy, you know, I think you guys could hook up because of the fact that her boyfriend at the time, him and Tony were best friends. So I guess it was supposed to be like if I was desperate, like looking for a man or something. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I look desperate. But she was like, you know, so she was like, yeah, he's going to come to the house, girl. He showed up at 11 something at night. Now, I'm a daddy's girl.
Oh, he's
so
actually,
my daddy...
he can come at 11 o'clock?
At 11 o'clock.
Interesting.
Yeah, my daddy don't play that, girl. He didn't teach me that,
I'm
right?
sure.
Yes. So mind you, because I had just came to the U.S., maybe 4 months before, and then I'm like, this dude is showing up at 4 o'clock. I mean, it was 11 o'clock, and he was supposed to come about 5 o'clock. Shows up at 11. My cousin comes, wakes me up. Now, I have on rollers. I have on a little green PJ that says a Mickey Mouse outfit. And my cousin comes, she wakes me up. She was like, Zachyra, you need to go because Tony's here. Girl, I looked at her like she had 7 horns. I walked outside and I just exactly how I was dressed because she went back. So she's thinking I'm getting myself together. Yeah. No, I went out there and I was like, hi, hola, Zachyra, and went right back in. Let me tell you, he said that alone triggered his curiosity because he was like, oh my gosh, because I was very confident. I was like, yeah.
Not the I was like,
and my cousin was livid. She was like, how could you go outside looking like that? So the next day, he's helping out with the, all the preparations and stuff. And that's when I was like, he is so cocky. What is wrong with him? And I remember I was getting myself together and I was like, oh my gosh, asking my cousin, does this look good? And he was like, you don't have to worry about the clothes because you're the one that makes the clothes. You're the one that makes it look good.
Oh, goodness
I was
gracious.
like, girl.
The one-liners.
Yes. So party came and everything else. And then afterwards, I went back to Florida. I would travel back and forth. And I remember him saying to me one time, he said, if you ever move to New York, you're going to be my wife. I said, this man must have fallen down and hit his head. But there was just something about him because his heart was just so genuine, even though he had, and I said, you have all these girls. So I became his counselor, girl. I was like, you can't be doing this to the girls. Yes. I was like, this is not nice. Here I am. But there was something about him that just attracted, but I don't know what it is about us. I think we just like bad boys.
You're saying that? No. I cannot.
Yes.
Like we're relating here
Yes.
intensely because since I had already been in a bad relationship and he had as well, I was like his wingman. That's how we started. It was more so because at the time, he was with a lot of girls at the time.
Yeah.
And he went through like a depression. That was the whole thing why we went to go see him. But I didn't want anything initially in the beginning. Okay. It was more like, there was an attraction.
Yeah. But
however, nothing that I was going to say, oh, here I am going to marry this guy.
Right.
It was more, I act like I was cool. Like I was one of the guys. Like, there was a point that there was this girl that he really liked. Apparently, he brought me to meet her.
Oh.
I literally sat in the front seat and
So you were checking her out, like to see if she was
what
okay?
do you think? Yeah. Like what, it was like that. We became really good friends first.
That's so funny.
And it was like that. It was more, even though we knew that there was chemistry, we still but it was pretty much the same thing, just like that. It was
That's
like,
so
I was
funny.
confident. We would talk for hours, but he was more open. I just didn't let him know that, yes, I was attracted to him. I played it cool. That was my facade at the moment with him. But yes. Yes.
So when did you know, like, okay, this is the man of my dreams. Like this is going to be the man of my children, the baby daddy of my children. Yes. When did you know that was that specific moment
when he started noticing, when I started noticing in him more so that there's a genuine good-hearted person there, and he started letting his guard down and being more vulnerable with me.
Wow.
That I saw what no one else saw.
Okay.
And I can tell because even when his friends were around, he wasn't acting that way. He was still putting on the facade that he's tough. He's, nothing bothers
So he
him.
was like behind the scenes, like
behind the scenes,
vulnerable
right.
guy.
And I pretty much was onto him. And I was like, you know what? I noticed that when things start getting serious, like emotionally, you make a joke out of it. He was like,
it was too much.
He was like, whoa. He was like, you
got insight, girl.
You got insight.
Yes.
Yeah. He was like, how did you know that? He was like, you know my secrets. He was like, that's, I don't know how I feel about that. And that's what started us off like that. And and then that's it after that.
Wow. So it's so interesting, right? Because if I think about, like, for us, it was a little bit different because we did talk about marriage and everything else, but I ended up getting pregnant. We were actually 5 months pregnant when Tony and I got married. And it was so funny because my mom was like, muchacha, like, ¿qué tú vas a hacer?
Yeah.
So she was like, you need to get married.
Right.
So it was more like a shotgun wedding kind of stuff.
Like, hurry
but
up.
yes, like, you need
happen.
to get married. Like, and people knew already that I was already, I wasn't really showing and stuff. But it was more like that, even though we had, talked about it and everything else. And we would spend hours, like, talking, But I think that, we had, like, one premarital session, but I really wish that someone would have sat down. And I know we were talking a little bit behind the scenes, right? That if we had someone to sit down and really tell us, like, what really, like, what is marriage going to be like? So let's talk a little bit about that as far as, like, what are some of the things that you feel that, someone would have sat down and spoken to you, whether if it's like an elder woman or something that would have been like, about what marriage really is.
I feel like if, how people say, if I knew then what I knew now.
Yeah.
And while my husband and I were doing these marital, getting ready to be certified, to be marriage, marriage specialists and whatnot. And we learned, because we never had premarital for us. Even though we were in a church, they didn't provide that service for us.
Wow, it's interesting. Because most churches,
they did not. So this was a more smaller Pentecostal church. They didn't have stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I feel like had I had the premarital classes prior, we would have saved ourselves so much pain and suffering. Because when you go into marriage, you think about it like if it's a Cinderella story. It's like, we're going to, how society paints it all. And
Hollywood.
And we start focusing on whether you're happy or not, and whether you're feeling, is he your hero? Is he your knight in shining armor?
Girl, I thought Tony was going to take me he was going to, like, save me on a white horse, like Cinderella. That didn't happen. I'm still waiting, girl.
It did not. We're waiting. We're waiting. God is working in them. Yes. So I feel like to tell someone, let's say if it was me back then, like me telling myself then, I would say, you know what, Jo? You have to know what marriage really is, what it means in the eyes of God.
Yeah.
before anything else, because in the eyes of God, it's a covenant.
Yep.
It's holy. It's something he takes it so
sacred,
serious and
yes.
sacred.
Yes.
And to know what love is, because you think you know what love is,
Yes.
until
Preach,
you
girl.
realize that you have to be selfless. It's not about what you're getting out of the relationship. It's how you can serve your partner.
Yeah.
And I never thought of it that way. It's like, well, he's not serving me. He's not doing things for me,
Yeah.
me.
Yes.
I think
the me syndrome.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think we both go into that relationship, at least for my husband and I. We both
Yeah.
went in there for, it's about me. We were selfish.
Yes.
Selfish and immature.
Yes.
But yes, I would definitely say first know what marriage really means.
Yeah.
And what love really is.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, right? Because for me, it was a little bit, different because I came so broken. It was more about, I really wish someone would have said, like, you need to heal
Yes.
all of that first, because I was expecting for him to heal that.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that at that point we were not, serving or anything else, we were just trying to get by, like, to do life. And I really, really wish that someone would have been like, like, you are broken, you are broken and you need to heal before you even go in there, because you're not going to be good for anyone. Because it's so true, because we come into these marriages many times, right, with so much trauma and so much maybe like baggage.
Right.
And no one really sits down and says, like, how about we work through that? We clean that up.
Yes.
Because imagine, I'm coming in with all this damage, right?
Correct.
And we're trying to figure out like damage control, right? And I look at it like two people coming together, and then all of a sudden it's like you throw out your stuff, I throw out my stuff, and it's a big mess.
Yep.
And there's no one there to clean it. Like, and then you're looking at all the mess, and you're like, who's going to clean this up? So it was just a piles of of mess. So now that we're pretty much on this topic, if you had to kind of like just pick one word that describe your marriage then and now, what would that be?
Before, I would say chaotic. Now, I would say mature.
I love that.
Mature.
Yeah.
More so in the spiritual sense, spiritual
Yes.
maturity.
Yes.
Because that plays a huge role,
Yeah.
especially in my marriage. And I know for yours as well, because we're
Yeah.
believers. But it's the spiritual maturity,
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. For me, my word was brokenness. Yeah. That was the first one. And the second one was like restoration.
Love that.
Yeah. Because it's like when I look at it from that aspect, girl, it was a lot of ups and downs. Lots. Woof.
I'm right there
Yes.
with you. Right
Yeah,
there
we
with
were
you,
talking
girl.
behind the scenes, right?
Yes,
Too much to
we
talk
are.
about today, but
There's a lot going on. Yes. That's for another episode.
Yes, that will be another episode. Yes, but just so interesting, right? How we go through doing life, and no one really is like kind of like guiding you or helping you, and there was so much going on internally. So many of us, and when we go through these different things, like we don't realize that sometimes there's just so much pain, and we're expecting for our
Yes.
spouses to really pretty much like be the healer.
Yep. Fix it. Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to fix this.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, so comment a little bit about that, as far as like, were you also in that same, streak, as far as like waiting to be fixed or waiting for him to fix you?
Yeah. In a sense, prior to him, I was a relationship. It was an actual abusive relationship, like
Okay.
emotionally and physically. And I even had my first son was out of that relationship. And I did kind of expect him to kind of like fill that and kind of rescue me, because I knew him as being a type of leader.
Yeah.
And I saw that in him, that a lot of people followed him. He was very popular, like within
Man,
our friends.
Are they like Like,
No,
are they
it's-
related?
No. It was like there were people were drawn to him, and I think that he kind of fed off that energy. That's why I always saw him as being so cocky. He thinks he's
Yes.
all that or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is him and like,
yes,
are they like related or something?
But
gosh.
I did like that.
Yeah.
I only like that part. The fact that the leadership part, not the cockiness.
Yes.
But the leadership part I liked. But you get a rude awakening very quickly when you
my
realize,
gosh. Yes.
wait, he's not.
He's not.
He ain't doing that. Like, he ain't rescuing
not the-
me.
yes.
And you start to feel like I'm a mom.
He's
like,
not it.
he mind still in
Yes.
it. I said, boy, was I mistaken. Yeah, because we're
we
looking
need
at
to
the
go
wrong.
back.
Yeah, we need to reevaluate what's going
We
on.
need to go back to the table and
Yes.
reevaluate this
Correct.
relationship because this is not working right now.
Yeah, this is not
Yes.
what I envisioned.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny though. But yeah, you're talking and I'm just like, I'm laughing, right? And we could look back now and laugh.
I know.
But there were a lot of tears. There was
Back
no
then,
laugh.
It was not laugh. No,
Yes.
no, ma'am.
Yes,
We
there
were
were
not laughing.
so many tears. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. And we were not connected at all emotionally. I didn't even know what the word was, girl. That's a big word now to debate
Yes.
when we talk about emotional intelligence and stuff. But back then, there was no. I didn't know what emotional was, and I didn't know what intelligent. Well, I knew a little bit about the intelligence part,
Yeah.
but the emotional part that wasn't
Right.
happening. So tell me, what do you think like emotional, in like connection is like now that you're talking about like maturity and spirituality? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
I feel like now it's the emotional connection now versus before. Before there was no emotional connection. And that's a lot of the reasons why my husband and I had been through so much is because we didn't know how to process our emotions. But now, going through what we've gone through in life, in our marriage, it's more like you feel like now we're more in tune with one another. Now there's more consideration of the other person's feelings versus how you're making me feel. It's like, well, what did I do to cause you to feel that way? Now it's more so, I'm sad, and now he's trying to make me happy, and he knows how to connect with me more. If when I'm down, now he can read me better. He's more emotionally connected. Before it wasn't. It was more like, why you have an attitude?
Yeah.
What now? It's like,
What's wrong
going
with
on?
you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Get yourself
like,
together.
Yeah, because I don't like how it's making me feel. Kind of a thing.
Whatever you got going
Yeah,
on.
stop it.
Yes,
Yeah.
you need whatever that is. Whatever that is.
He didn't want no parts of it.
Yes,
Correct.
stop it.
And it was more like there's a disconnect, and
Yes.
then now you're feeling as a woman,
Yes,
feeling
like,
like,
what did I do?
Like,
Yes.
now I'm lost. I have no one. Who do I go to if I can't come to my
Yes.
husband? As to now, he's my best friend. We talk about everything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And for me, I'm not a person that trusts people in general. I've been
Talk
burned
about
many
the trust.
times.
That's another episode.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
But I trust my husband. And a lot of things that we talk about, I talk about. And I have good friends.
Yeah.
But my trust, like, I'm not going to go to just
Yeah. It's
any
it's-
friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a boundary.
There is always a boundary. Correct. But my husband's, that's my other half.
That's your person.
That's my person.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So emotional intimacy, right? Because when you think about like the intimate part, it's like, can I share all my feelings
Yes.
with you? And can I trust you?
Yes.
Like, can I take all these feelings that are inside of me and really hand them over to you and you're going to take care of them?
Right.
Right. So that's what that emotional connection is. And that even though I'm hurting and even though what I'm going to say to you may hurt you, but I need to be honest with you.
Right.
Right. And sitting down in those, in those spaces and taking those emotional punches, that's no
Not
joke.
always, yeah.
That's no
Not
joke.
always peachy.
Yeah, but that's what emotional intimacy is, right? And again, we're not taught that. So I
No.
think we're taught a lot in marriages of like the behaviors, like what we need to do. Growing up, I remember that they would be like, "Oh, ya sabes cocinar, ya te
Yes.
puedes casar."
Yeah,
right.
right.
Like you know how to cook, so now you could get married, right? Like who determines because I know how to make some arroz, like I can go ahead and get married, right?
Right.
But even though it's a running joke, if you really think about it, like especially because I grew up in Panama, it's like, okay, well, you need to know how to clean, you need to know how to wash, you need to know how to pretty much cater to your husband. Girl, I was not that one.
Yes.
I wasn't the one. I wasn't the one.
She's like, he gonna cater to me.
What? I was like, what? I grew up with 4 older brothers. Okay. And my dad. So it's like, I'm catering to all these men. I'm like, now I got to cater to you. Yes.
Like, don't sign me up for that.
Yeah. So I came into the relationship also with a lot of this mindset of being very independent.
Yes.
I was just like, I didn't like the way that in my household, the whole entire environment as far as like with my dad and with my stepmom and how that actually, was actually like meshing. I really was not comfortable with that. So, and we grew up pretty poor. So we always had a lot of different, issues as far as like economical. So I got to a point that I was just like, no, I don't want to be that one. I don't want to be the one that's not working and everything else. And I was like, no, I have to have my own. So when I came into my marriage, that was my narrative.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my own. I'm going to be this woman and you don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about how it was for you.
For me, it was more so since I came out of that bad relationship and I had my son. See, I thought that he was going to rescue me in the beginning. Mind you, not that I
Why
went
are we
through
coming
much.
to these relationships
I don't know.
thinking people going to
You know what?
rescue us?
Nobody's rescuing you, girls. Ladies, no one is rescuing
Yes.
you. Jesus can rescue
Yes.
you. That's it.
Yep, that's
Just
it.
don't expect a man to
Yes.
do that. We are holding them to a too high of a standard
Yes.
that they cannot achieve
Yes.
without the grace of God.
Yes.
Like, that's really what it
Yes.
is. But for me, it was more so, now I had my son. So now I was more on survival. Now I was like, well, now I'm not going to depend on any man.
You gotta
I got to
do
do
it
what I got to
yourself.
do. I have to work and take care of me and my son. It's me and him.
Yeah.
And no man's going to get in the way of that. My son comes first. And that was my mentality into my relationship with my husband now.
Wow.
Was he comes before you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. Girl, talk about that.
I was like, I am a mother before
Yes.
I'm a wife.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm too, we're
Yes.
high-fiving in the air.
Yes.
In case you can't see that.
Yes.
But I thought that. And I was very strong about that. I
Yes.
was like, I would tell my husband a lot. I would say this to him. I would say, you're going to come here you're going to leave the way you came by yourself.
Oh, okay.
I said, but me and my son, we're going to be
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
And I always made him feel like I didn't need him.
Oh my goodness, girl.
I did.
We're gonna have to bring the guys back.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a whole thing.
But I think we won't be here though.
we won't be here.
We won't be here.
No.
Yes.
And that's how it was for me. I came like that. That was my mentality.
Oh my
I brought that
gosh.
into the relationship.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought of him. And I said,
Yes.
it was just, I was surviving like that.
Yeah.
That was my thing until I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And God's like, no.
Those hard ways, they're not good.
God's
Ooh.
like, you are in
like,
direct
ouch.
disobedience with my word.
Girl, I would hear talking about submission. I'm like, what?
I'm like, what?
I would
That's not
pass that
happening.
in the Bible.
Me
I'm
too.
like, no,
And
we
I was
ain't
like,
talking
that was in the
about
olden
yes,
days.
Yes. We talking about yes. We are modern
work
people.
now.
Yes.
No, but when you come to realize and
Oh
you
my
read
gosh.
scripture and you really think about
Yes.
it,
Absolutely.
God has a perfect design. We are just ignorant
Yes.
to not know that.
Yes.
But his design is perfect. It is. You know?
And the thing is that if you think about it, right, from the beginning of time, even with Eve, right, what she got herself into trouble from the beginning of time. Why is she over there entertaining this enemy, right? She just went ahead and she just did all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, then you got him. So this is like pretty much like back from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
This is when it started, and I think that that's what ends up happening in marriages is that the enemy comes and he starts to whisper certain things into
Right.
your ear. Look, he's not good enough. He didn't save you. Where's the white horse? Where's the Cinderella?
Right.
He's not doing that stuff,
Right.
right? And I'm believing that.
Yeah.
So
same.
now, and then I'm looking at other marriages, right? Because now their marriages look better than my marriage.
Correct.
So
You
then I'm
compare.
like, yes.
The enemy is comparing, girl.
Yeah, so I'm comparing and I'm like, like, well, you don't do what little Tomasito do over there.
Right.
Look how he be doing stuff.
Like, how come he looks at
Yes.
her like that? He never look at me like that.
Yes.
so
And we
love.
don't, yeah, and we don't even know what's happening over there in that other
Correct.
household, right?
Correct.
Like how they say, "What the grass is not green on the other side," right?
right.
But that's what we think,
Yes, that's so
right? And then
true.
you start to like disconnect, you know. So was there ever a season that you started to feel like so like disconnected that you were just like, "Yeah, I can't do this."
Yes. And it was that goes back to the whole emotional connection.
Yeah,
There was none of that.
yeah,
So there was a time that I felt very distant. I felt like we were together, but I never felt more alone. So it's like we were doing life, we were there. It was almost like we were roommates.
yeah.
And that disconnection was like brutal in our marriage because then there was no consideration. There was nothing. There was no talks of emotion. I couldn't express myself without him feeling offended.
Because you didn't feel safe, too,
Right.
right?
I didn't feel safe at the time.
Yeah.
Because of the way he would react at the time.
Yeah. Wow.
Versus now it's totally different. Praise the Lord for that. But yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something. That's definitely, you know, something. And when you start thinking about like that disconnection, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, disconnection happens with, it's like the little things like that start to creep up in your marriage, right? And that's what the enemy does. So it starts with, oh, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. And then we start looking at all the negatives. But we forget to really look at like the positive things that they are doing.
Yes.
Right? And we feel that, you know what? Yeah, we need to fix them. Right?
Yes.
Because they're a whole, like, it's a mess. But in reality, is it really that we're supposed to fix them or is it that God has to fix them?
Preach it, girl.
You know?
Yes.
And that's the thing. Because I remember when I did get saved and we started going to church and stuff, I remember that I was so convicted because I remember like hearing God's voice. It's like, this is my son. Like, you feel like you're going to fix him into all these different things. Girl, I had a whole binder of all the different things that he could do. You know, it was like an imaginary binder.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is what you should be doing, you know, and it never worked. Never worked. And if you guys are out there listening, you know, it's so important for you guys to understand and to know that, you know, it doesn't have to do with pretty much them. It has to do with us.
Yes.
And I remember opening up this book. I believe it was The Power of a Praying Wife by Stormy. And girl, I was ready. I'm like, yep, I'm going to go into this book and I'm going to start praying about this stuff because he needs to change. Girl.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Boy, did I get a slap in the face. And when I started reading it, I was like, ouch. Every moment.
Yes,
I was like, ouch.
I can imagine. Oh, yeah.
Ouch.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it was more about me, like the different things that I needed to change, like within myself. And we do come into these marriages pointing so many different fingers. But in reality, it shouldn't be like that, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. So I was reading this book, and I think I shared this in our class. Well, I shared it with you, actually. And it's so interesting, right? Because it talks about like relationships. And the name of the book, for those that cannot see us, it says For Women Only. And it's such a good book. I mean, I haven't read the whole thing.
Yeah.
But when I opened it up, Joe, it was just like, oh my gosh, it was like, ouch, right? Ooh. But it talks about like, we always say like, you're supposed to love me, right? You're supposed to do all these different things for me. For some reason, I think us females, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, we come into these relationships thinking like that these men, like they have to give us unconditional love.
Right. That's correct.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Why do you think that?
I think, well, first off, men should love their wives. They're called to that by God. But I think we think that because in some way we lack that feeling or we have a misconception of what that looks like.
Yeah.
And we think that they're going to do that for us. They're supposed to do that for us. And then when they don't live up to what we think that looks like, we get sadly disappointed. And now we start feeling a different type of way towards them.
And resentment.
Yes,
Right?
and a lot of
'Cause
resentment.
that
Correct.
starts to creep in, right? But they are called to love us, right? Because that's what the word
Yes.
says. Like, you're supposed to love me.
Yes.
However, we're supposed to respect them.
Yes, ma'am.
You see how
We
I say
like
that,
to
right?
overlook
Yes.
that.
Right? Yeah, because you said that real quick. You were like, yep. Well, they are supposed to love us.
Yes.
Right? So in this book, right? So I was just reading it, and it was talking about, respect and everything else. And then it was talking about that for us females, right? We cry like when we're sad and if we feel disrespect or we feel unloved, right? We start crying.
I know.
But it says anger is often a man's response to feeling disrespected.
I remember hearing that.
Yes. So we cry, but they become angry, right? And I'm just wondering, right, if we had a disrespect barometer or a thermometer, what would that actually look like? Because we want this unconditional love, but what if they wanted unconditional respect? Ooh.
It's true, girl. I know it's
You saying that like,
it's a little stingy.
Yes.
It's a little
Yes. And it's so, I mean, it's so interesting because it really says unconditional respect. And I don't know if we're all there yet,
No.
because it's always about the wife and wanting to feel so loved. But I think our men also sometimes, because of the way that we act, they're just like, girl, you better go somewhere with all that.
Yeah,
And it's like,
right.
because I remember being so mouthy.
Oh,
I'm still
honey.
working on that. I'm
Me
still working
too.
on
God is
that.
working. We're-
Yes, but we said we're passionate. Remember, we spoke
We
about
do.
that. We are very passionate, people.
passionate
Yes,
people.
yes. I told Joe the other day. I said
I
it's
love
not that we're loud.
Honey, I ran
we're
with that
just
thing.
yeah.
I was like, I'm passionate.
We are just very, very passionate.
Yes, indeed.
Right. But what ends up happening in marriages is that when we do get to this point that we feel, because this is a ladies' show, so we're going to keep on talking about the ladies, right? We'll talk about them in another time.
Yes.
Right. But when we talk about that unconditional love and not feeling love, then after a while, like how you were saying, like then we become these roommates and then we start to emotionally disconnect. And it's not a good thing, because then afterwards, then all these other unresolved, issues and stuff start coming up.
Right.
So when we start really thinking about, well, what should we do? Because we have our girlfriends to run to, but then who do the men run to?
Right.
It's
true.
And are they that open to be able to say, you know what? I need help. And then even in the churches today, we don't really see that.
No.
Being able to say, this is what I'm going through and I need help.
Right.
Right. I mean, I don't know if that's been your experience, but at least, that's never been my experience.
Yeah. I mean, for us, and I think a lot of the times, a lot of marriage conversations don't really come up. It's almost like we don't say anything. It should be said more often.
Yes.
Because there's so many marriages that are struggling within the church.
Gosh. And then you see divorce rates.
And then you see divorce rates, and then no one knows. All of a sudden, the wife is not there anymore, or the husband's not coming to church anymore. Here, they're divorced, and no one knows what's going on. And something could have been done to prevent that. But I think even what you're saying about respecting the men, like we don't see that as women. And a lot of the times, even for my relationship, I knew that I was tearing him down with my words.
Criticism.
The criticism.
Yes,
and
judging.
Instead of me building him up,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I was tearing him down for his shortcomings.
Yes.
So I was saying, you didn't. And so for
And
a
look
man,
at what I'm doing.
it's disrespectful
Yes.
for me to
Yes.
say that to him. Like I shouldn't say it in that way. There's ways of how to say things. And for them, that's a form of disrespect, because it's like, well, you don't even respect me. You're just coming at me and not telling me anything. You're not helping
On a
for me.
regular.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should be praying for him. Like you have to pray for your husband, especially as women. We're called to do that.
Yes.
We're helpmates for a reason.
Yes, absolutely.
And we have to pray over our husbands. Pray the man that you want him to be in God's
You need to
eyes.
go to God with that,
Yes.
right? Because we keep praying horizontally, right? We keep,
Yes,
and we
yes.
keep judging,
Correct.
horizontally. So we're like, here's like the checklist.
Yes.
You need to fix this box, check this box,
Right,
check that box.
right.
And in reality, they're like, whoa, but in reality, it's supposed to be vertical,
Right.
Right? Because if I could go vertically and just be like, you know what, Lord, please, these are the things that my heart, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes also I think we also go to God with the checklist, but I think looking back now and being able to say, you know what, Lord, you know him, make him the man that you need him to be.
Correct. And
not
that's
what
my
I
prayer now. That's exactly what I
yes,
pray.
not what I need him to be.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I could give you my whole checklist,
whole list,
right?
yeah. A
But
binder.
he knows better. Yes, my binder, right? My imaginary binder. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, my imaginary binder.
Sections and everything.
Yes. But men do want to connect.
Yes.
But they also want to feel that they could feel safe and also respected.
Yes.
And again, going back to what you were saying, that a lot of these talks, they don't happen, they just happen in these secret places and these secret homes. And then afterwards, all of a sudden we see, different things. And even when talking about all these different things as far as the occult that nobody talks about, even with sex, right? Nobody talks about sex in marriages. And why do you think is that?
I think it's almost taboo. And I think it's because of the lack of knowledge of the way God sees sex.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing. But if you don't
It's a beautiful thing. You guys heard Joe.
it's a beautiful thing. It's something that God gave us because he wants us to
It's a gift.
enjoy. It's a gift. And the problem is that because sex is always spoken about in a negative way, like in society,
Yes.
I think a lot of the times churches don't even want to bring it up
Yes.
because it's almost like, well, that's something private. We don't speak about that. But then how are we helping one another? How are we making it safe for people to actually come and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. We haven't been intimate. We haven't been. And that's one of the quotas of you being married is you need there has to be physical intimacy.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. I remember hearing a pastor say that he told his children since they were younger, he's like, okay, it's mommy and daddy's time. Okay, it's time for you guys to go to sleep because mommy and daddy, not that they were just going to go have sex, but it was just spending time together. Right. And then he grew up, like he said, his kids grew up pretty much knowing this is something beautiful.
Yes.
Right. But the way that it was presented to me, it was it wasn't something beautiful.
No.
It was that's a sin.
It's a sin.
Yeah.
He was like, you won't go to hell. Don't do that. You're like, I'm sorry, what?
Yes.
Yes.
Like,
So
oh.
everything is
Yes, it's like a taboo.
Yes.
Yes. So imagine like there's so much like guilt and shame.
It is.
Right? Behind that.
Yeah.
So then how do we, right, in this time and age that we're living in, what can we do, right, to pretty much start breaking those barriers? Because that's huge.
It's honestly, I couldn't agree more. And I think it starts with how we talk to our children about it. Mm-hmm. It can't be presented as something negative. Mm-hmm. This is why the kids go out at a young age to experiment, because
Or when they
it's
go to
always
college.
Oh, yeah,
It's crazy.
or they go all kinds of crazy.
Yes.
But if you teach them what the value of it is and why it's so worth waiting for,
Yes.
then they'll be like, you know what, I want that. I want that feeling.
Yes.
Like, I wish I would have had that feeling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
Me
if
too,
I
girl.
knew then what I know now, right?
Yeah.
And it's not talked about in that way. If it's made to be a beautiful thing, which is in reality what God made it to be.
Yes.
And it's something that you want to look forward to, and it's okay to talk about it. And it's
Yes.
not a hidden thing that, a taboo topic. We don't talk about that. And you're too young for that. And you have to start when they're young.
Yes.
Of course, age appropriate, obviously.
course.
But you have to start
Yes.
making it. So you know what? They need to be able to know the joy and anticipation of
Yes.
what it is when you do it correctly.
Yes.
When you're doing it in marriage, in a covenant relationship.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that even like females today, right, us being able to even speak about it, right? Because if you want to be with your husband, it's like, oh my gosh, that's such a bad thing. Like nobody speaks about that, right? Because it's okay for the guys, right, to say certain
feel
things.
like, yes.
Yes. We gonna get some tonight.
like to go-
right? But you can't, nobody can, imagine you were like,
know,
oh
you're
yeah, Joe, I'm going to go home because I'm going to go get me some tonight.
Yeah,
You're like, oh girl.
Girl,
you
we
good?
don't talk about that. Like,
Yeah, you good?
That's not very ladylike.
Let me lay my hands
that's
on you.
not-
Let's pray for you, girl.
Yes, yeah, that's not very
Yeah.
ladylike, right? It's like,
Yes.
now you're like,
Yes, that's not appropriate.
that's not classy. You
Yes.
don't talk like that. Don't stop it.
Yes. Yes, you need to
Yes.
STOP. Stop it now. Girl, let me call some sisters and let them know what's going on with you right
now. We're
now.
going to talk about it and we're going to rejoice
Yes.
and be like, yes, girl, go
Yes.
get you some.
Yes.
That's what you need to rejoice at somebody getting
Yes.
some. That's
Yes.
especially if they're married, that's you want to
but
encourage that.
Yes, but it's so sad. And I tell you, Joe, like I sit down with so many couples, and that's a one of the top things that they're struggling with, like being intimate with each other, and there's so many different struggles that they're going with, I mean, there's, definitely medical, situations and stuff that are happening, but there's so much help out there. Yes. But because of the fact that we are shamed, it becomes worse because of the fact that then no one is seeking help. The marriage is suffering.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now it's like there's also a reason for divorce.
Right.
So we need to be able. So ladies, if you're listening to this, listen. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to be with your husband. There's nothing wrong if you want to go get you some. Go get you some, girl. Go get you some and be creative.
Yeah. You know
Listen.
what? I think that's the problem. You know what it is?
Okay, so let's talk about
Let's talk about that a little bit. In marriage,
Yes.
if you can't talk to your husband about what feels good,
Listen up.
what you like, where you like it, how to touch you, then honey, he ain't gonna guess. He can't read your mind.
Yes.
So you gotta tell him a little more to the left. You say
a
a little more to the
You
left.
need to help him out.
You need to help him out.
Yes.
Right. And vice versa.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
If he's not open and saying, babe, I like when you
Yes.
do this. I
Right.
like when you do that. You want to have a healthy sex
Yes. Life.
Like
Yes.
it's part of it.
Yes.
You're gonna be with each other forever. And there's gonna be a point that you won't
Yes.
be able to.
Yes.
So
Yes.
do what you can
But
now.
this is where the emotional connection comes
Yes.
in, right? Because if I don't feel safe enough to be able to share with you, right, about I'm feeling sad because you didn't do the dishes.
Right.
Well, how am I going to go tell you? I need you to do it more left go more to the left or go more to the
without
right.
you being offended.
Yes.
Or feeling like you're not a good
like,
man.
oh, you think I'm like, oh, now I'm not a man.
doing it
now.
right?
Yes.
Trying to say I ain't doing it right? Yes. That's my
Yes.
man voice.
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's so true.
Yeah.
But again, I do believe that we need to start, we need to start having these conversations in a very normalized way.
Yes,
because
it
I think
has to
that's the
be.
key. It has to be normalized.
Yes.
And because of the fact that we're, placed in a place of shame, it's sad.
Yes.
It's sad, but we're going to change that.
We are, girl.
Yeah, so we're going to change that. So tell me a little bit about, now that we've kind of touched on sex and emotional intimacy and everything else, like what do you guys, do to keep the romance going, like the fun part? Like tell me a little bit about that.
Well, my husband and I we have a lot of fun together. And I think that's more so even what attracted me more to him was we had the same personality. We laughed about the same things. And we joke about everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes even about sex.
Yeah.
Like even when we have to get a quick one in, we're strategic. We try to make sure that the kids are around. Like, even that's fun to try to get it in. Right now, we just moved.
Yes.
So right now we're in an uncomfortable space. We're right now in our
you
basement.
have your own space now.
So now it's until we move upstairs because we're renovating. We've had to become very very
strategic.
Yes,
that's the word.
Stuff in. But nevertheless, we're open.
Yeah.
If I feel like I'm in the mood, I'm gonna say it. I'm not just gonna. And before I didn't. I wasn't. This wasn't always the case. By the way.
Yes.
It was always like.
And
I
you've had to work through that.
That he would know. Or I would move a little more to the right so he can kind of feel me, assuming that he's
Tuck
gonna get a clue.
little bit under, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or dress a certain way and blah 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 blah. I don't do none of that. I'm gonna say I say, you think we could have some sex tonight?
Yes.
And he'd be like, yeah, of course. I will text him. Sometimes I'll text him stuff.
Yes.
And he'll text me. He was like, oh, this and that. But we're just now we're more vocal about it. Now it's something that we look
But you both are
to.
safe.
Yes, but
and
we're safe, right?
Yes.
And you know what? It's important to also, get them a pat on the back. Sometimes I tell my husband, I was like, babe, you was on point today.
Girl, yes.
I was like, he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? He gets all
His
excited
ego,
about it.
yes.
It strokes his ego a bit.
Yes.
But I was like, ooh, honey, that was great. Like you gotta pat each other on the back.
And that's the thing, right? Because we don't.
Yeah.
We don't, right? So we get to a point in life that we're just like, okay. And then even with that, like the creativity and this, and being spontaneous and everything else.
Yes.
Because I think that's what also happens with us females. Like we get older and it's like, oh, okay, it just becomes like a routine.
Yeah.
And one thing that I remember my father-in-law telling me, he was like, you need to continue to take care of yourself. You need to continue to dress up for your husband.
Right.
Even when he comes home, because some of us, like we get married and we just like leave, like everything, todo se dejó.
Yeah.
Tortilla, and then
right,
you're upset because he's looking at the other booty walking across the street because she looking good.
Right.
And I'm not saying that that's okay.
No.
But I'm just saying that.
But you should still want to.
You got to look
beautiful.
good. Yes.
Right.
Because let me tell you, men have eyes, girl, and they're going to look, and we got eyes too.
Exactly right. And we have to take care of ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And you know what? As women, you feel good when you take care of yourself.
Yes.
You don't have to go nowhere.
Yes.
Sometimes when you put a little bit of makeup on,
Yep.
Sometimes you feeling yourself.
Yes.
You be like, ooh, don't you looking good today?
Yes. I'll be feeling myself.
You be like, yeah. And I'm like, you ain't and I'll call to my husband like, you ain't gonna say I look cute. And he was like, he'd be like, babe, you always look beautiful. I said, no, you gonna tell me now because I'm feeling myself a little extra today.
So I need to hear
tell
it.
me that. Yeah, you gonna let me know.
Yes.
But
yeah,
you have to. Don't just do it for your husband. Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself. Absolutely.
And that's a big problem. I feel like a lot of times don't always seem. It's just the way you're thinking about it as a woman. You need to do it for you too.
Yes.
Because it changes your personality. It changes
everything. How you dress up. Yes.
Do it for yourself first so that you can feel good. Because what man or what husband is going to want to say, want you to feel, they know if you feel ugly, they're going to know that.
And you're going to project that too.
And you're going to project that. Exactly right.
So, so for Tony and I mean, we definitely like, it's to the point that if we're like, you know what, we should go do that. Yeah, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's stopping anyone. So I said, I don't know if this is a good combination because we'll be like, you know what? Yeah, like let's just go like to New York.
Yeah.
Right? And we're just like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
right?
I love
so that. It's just so, I mean, and Tony is just so creative. I definitely have to say, I have to give him more props.
That's awesome.
So Papi, if you're listening to me right now, yes, that's one thing I appreciate about him. Girl, he is just like, he'll get on a roof, make me like these signs, talking about happy anniversary.
I love that.
Girl, he paid a homeless man $20 to go like paint something, hang on a bridge.
Like
it is just like so, even
that.
till this day, that's one thing that I can say. And one thing that he always says, and I know he mentioned it before, like you have to love your wife more today than yesterday.
Yeah.
And he always says that because yesterday has already passed, right? And today is the present. And being able to just have fun with each other, right? And that's one thing that I appreciate about Tony and I, that, oh my gosh, like it could be just silly. Girl, when I think about all the different things as far as like the crazy, it's just like insane.
We'd be crying. Even in bed, we're like dying.
It's
like
bad. Yes.
out of breath.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes. I remember one time I was going to bed and girl, he put some pillows on the bed, making me think that it was him while he's in the back recording.
Stop it.
Yes. In the dark. That was a bad combination, girls. Girl, I thought it was an intruder. Oh. So that was not funny anymore.
He would have been dead.
Yes. Because I listen, that fight or flight, that fight or flight came out really bad.
Yes, yes.
But it's like in those moments like that we could sit down and laugh. And I'm not saying that everything is always like hunchy-dory and everything else. So if you're listening to this, it's not like, but marriage is work. Yes. And you have to be able to, work at it, but also be able to have fun with one another. Yes. So for those that are listening now, like what would you tell them? Like if they're going through like a very hard season, because I know that we've spoken about like the fun times, sex and everything else, but we've also been through a lot of challenges, in our marriage. And it's been some really, really rough seasons. But what would you encourage, what would you tell someone, or how would you encourage them?
Well, first off, coming from spiritual background, always put God in the center of your marriage. It's the only way to actually get rid of strongholds, because it's the difference. Sometimes it's just, you're upset, here's upset. But when it's a stronghold in your marriage, which it does happen and we don't talk about, prayer and fasting is going to get that out. Nothing you can say is going to change your spouse. Nothing that you do is going to change your spouse. But if you pray and you enter the secret place and you let God do the work, he'll do it. But aside from that, vertical connection. Also important to communicate. Take a moment to sit down with your spouse. I did this with my husband, and I said, you know what? Let's write down certain things that you feel that I can help improve as a wife, that would help you. Yes. And you do the same things, or things that you feel that I do that you don't like, that are messing up our marriage and not helping us connect. So I came up with some stuff. He came up with some stuff, and we said we're going to work on those things. Wow. And being able to be in that safe space that you can actually talk and say, this is what I'm feeling, right? Rather than pointing the finger and accusing each other. You try not to do that. Yes, that definitely always sway away from that. It's never going to end well. Yes. Try to communicate the best you can. But for the really hard situations, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going and struggling. Like, God needs to be the foundation, because that's the only thing that's going to change. Who knows us better than our Lord? Yeah. And like you were saying, pray the correct prayers. Yes. It's like, God, make him the man that you want him to be. I want to see that. Yes. Because God doesn't know what he knows what we need. Yep. He knows what we need.
And he will give us the desires of our heart.
He sure will. And God is a good God. So I would just say, put Christ in the center at all times. Yes, absolutely. And try your best to sit down and take a moment. Be vulnerable. That's super important. And create that safe space. And sometimes as the wife, you have to start being vulnerable. You have to start admitting to your faults as well. Yeah. So there's no defensiveness.
Yeah. And there's sometimes that it's very difficult, right? For those marriages that are pretty much struggling, right? Especially those females out there that are really, really struggling, that they're like, I hear you guys, but it's been really tough. Yeah. Or, our hearts goes out to you guys. But definitely remember that God he's always there. Right. You have to be able to go to the throne every single day, and being able to say, you know what? This is hurting, as opposed to this is what you're doing. Right. I'm hurting so much, and you may need help. You may need to be able to go find, someone that can help you guys, a clinician, a counselor, someone that you feel safe, and a third party. Yes. Because sometimes things are just so deep that you guys cannot fix it. But don't lose hope, because as, we were sharing and as we were getting ready to wrap up as well, it's been a lot of rough season also in our own marriages. Like, we've been through so many different things, so many different, heartaches as well. For those that are listening, some of you guys know that even in the midst of everything also, I lost my own, well, our son. we lost him. In addition to that, apart from a lot of other heartbreaks that we've had throughout our seasons of life. And if we're here standing, I always tell people, then you guys can make it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because our story is not, I have a list of all these different, like I can check so much different, trauma and things that I've been through, So if we are here and we're standing, there's hope out there.
Oh, absolutely.
And because of the fact that no one talks about it, then you feel that you're alone, but you're not alone.
No.
You're not alone. So when we get into these spaces where we can open up and we can actually say that, you know what, you're not alone.
Oh, yeah.
And again, find someone that you can confide in, that you can actually feel safe with. And also because you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised that there's a lot of other people going through.
Oh, yeah. Similar situations. Yes.
Yeah. So any final thoughts, Jo, as we're wrapping up here? Because it's definitely been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. But no, I guess as a final thought, I would just say, for those that are listening, just remember that there's nothing that you're going through in your relationship that God cannot fix.
Yes.
And I mean, and I speak from experience.
Yes.
There's nothing that God cannot restore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, do you want it?
Yes.
Because he is always willing and able. And there's a lot of things and a lot of people that are hurting right now.
Yeah.
And there's always hope. And don't lose hope, because God is just waiting for you to let him in your marriage so that he can restore and do a new thing.
Yes, because he's not going to force you.
He does. He's a gentleman.
Yes.
He sure is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is like, do you trust him enough
Yes.
with your marriage to know that he has your best interest?
That's right.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Jo. It's definitely been a blessing.
Thank you. Yes, I had fun.
Yes, it's definitely been a blessing. I hope that we can bring you back another time and that we can actually continue these conversations because they're much needed.
Yes, definitely.
So I definitely thank you so much. I know that, we were talking about this and it was like, okay, so we finally made it happen.
Yes, we
did. So thank you. Yes, and for our listeners, thank you so much for being part of Soul Conversations with Z, and we'll see you next time.